Hello, everybody, far and wide, and welcome to this forum that looks back in time. Courtesy of Casa D18 Studios, we hope you enjoy what's being called Throwback Thursday. Over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years to come, we hope that you will enjoy us opening the vaults and archives to look back at some of the most unique content across all of our platforms, whether it's Casa D18 Studios, the Jeff Meacham Network, NoDQ.com, my Simple YouTube channel, The Simple Man's Brand, and of course, FTW Productions, hosted by James Hebert at jhebertside95. It basically is just going to offer you a ton of classic content. So with that being said, buckle up, have fun, take a seat, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling, and enjoy what this Throwback Thursday has in store for you. And again, I hope that you stay tuned for many more that hopefully will come too.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
It's out of my hands, but I'm still in control. It's out of my hands. You can never take away the power of my soul.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Button Master Stable Wars entire playlist. AEW Revolution Go Home Week, Dynamite and Rampage watch parties. Mistress Audio dramatic readings featuring voice actors from Weymouth Youth Wrestling. Elimination Chamber retrospective. All WrestleMania-themed retros by Wrestling Fortune 44 Incorporated. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Let's Play series. WrestleMania 19 Revenge Mode Let's Play series. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Both episodes of The Don DeMarco Show. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. The entirety of the NASCAR Thunder 2004 Let's Play series. Past and upcoming Jeff Meacham Network watch-along coverage. FTW Productions watch party for WrestleMania Go Home Raw. A Simple Take. WWE Simple Takes featuring Casa D18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting. Episode 3 coming soon. Breaking news. ATW View Impromptu. WYW Intro and Immortal Stream. Wrestling with Idiocy Episode 7. Our favorite WrestleMania matches. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from A Simple Man's brand.
It is Monday night, and you know what that means. Well, maybe you don't, because this is out of nowhere. We are ATW, and we just got done watching AW Dark Elevation for Monday, August the 16th. Here to bring you our outtakes and simple review. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good night, whenever you watch this on demand. My name is Noah Foster. I am the Simple Man, and my camera apparently wants me to turn to John Cena. With me tonight, of course, is the All Elite King and current ATW Money in the Bank contract holder, my brother, King A-Train, Anthony, and of course, the preacher. I say the preacher man himself, who'll tell you like it is, and you just gotta accept it. And that's all I gotta say about that. Casey Flynn. First off, King, how are you this evening?
Man, doing good. The successful Dark Elevation we just watched today. Man, oh man, I'm ready for some more AEW content this week.
Well, I mean, we got a fully loaded all week ahead of us now that AEW graces our screens 4 days, considering tomorrow night we got AEW Dark, another stacked, wild, and sure to be unpredictable AEW Dynamite. And of course, this Friday, the new era that ushered in last week continues with episode 2, where possibly the best in the world might show up too, as we have Rampage. No copyright, not copyright. Rampage, the first dance coming from Chicago with triple the audience on hand versus what we saw last week from Philadelphia. Man, was that place lit.
Pittsburgh, not Philadelphia, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, you're right. Well, Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is DMD. And that's all I gotta say. And they are also all elite. It's as simple as that. With that being said, we've had a wild month, I think, so far in August. And I know I said I was just going to come on here for a spotlight out of nowhere just to talk about AEW Dark Elevation, but we'd be stuck in gear stupid not to talk about what we saw this past freaking weekend. Triple Mania and NJ Resurgence. You talk about some groundbreaking, historic, holy bleep moments and a real love note and showcase of professional wrestling. Where do we even begin? Casey, I'll start with you. We had Triple Mania with Kenny Omega and Andrade El Idolo put on a classic. I would love to see those two go after for it again. And of course, NJ Resurgence giving more surprises than King's blood pressure can handle. Your thoughts from this past weekend?
All right. I thought this past weekend between AAA Resurgence and Triple Mania, I mean, with these two pay-per-views happening, I thought they were both phenomenal and fantastic.
Damn right.
I mean, there's a lot of matches. I mean, all of them impressed. Not one bad match was on that card whatsoever. I mean, all of them were very impressive. And Kenny Omega and Andrade stole the show that weekend because both of those two guys are both in their prime and they could go in the ring when you get down to it. And Kenny Omega is called the best bout machine in professional wrestling for a reason, folks, because Kenny Omega is a worker and he could give you an instant classic match if you wrestle against him.
Anybody.
Because let me tell you, with New Japan and Triple Mania taking effect, I mean, we haven't seen all of it. We have seen all of it, and they were both good pay-per-views, but when the GOD
Spoiler alert, folks.
showed up, that was a holy shit moment. Because in the words of good old JR Jim Ross, business has indeed picked up. And I can't wait to see GOD versus the Good Brothers down the road, because that tag match is going to be insane. And we got a lot of exciting stuff in professional wrestling ahead of us. AEW, New Japan, Triple Mania, because this professional wrestling is at its peak right now with the Forbidden Door taking place with NWA, New Japan, AEW, and AAA. I mean, anything could happen, folks. We don't know who's going to come through that Forbidden Door.
Yeah. From where, who, when, what, how, and for what purpose. As of course, just to give a few highlights to you folks from this past week before I hand over to the King, who I know's got a lot to say. At Triple Mania, that was headlined by a number of events, the traditional mask versus hair match that felt very personal. It was absolutely brutally insane. To the triple threat, AAA Tag Team Championships being defended as the Lucha Brothers took on Brian Cage, Black Taurus, AEW Impact Wrestling together. How about that? And of course, El Hijo and Laredo Kid in a wild triple threat tag team match where the Lucha Brothers did successfully retain. And of course, we had Roberto Rosa make history, becoming a double champion. Now the Delena Delenas AAA women's champion, defeating Fab Apache. Although something tells me those two are not double each other by a long shot. As Deon Purrazzo now holds double gold. I'm sure we'll talk more about it this Thursday on Impact Wrestling as her legacy continues and she grows her own legend. And also, of course, the match that definitely was the match of the night for me. Kenny Omega defending the AAA Mega Championship with Conan in his corner, defending it against El Hijo, Andrade, La Sombra, with freaking Nature Boy Ric Flair in his freaking corner, styling and profiling. And Andrade and Kenny Omega, there you go. Andrade and Kenny Omega, tick for tap, woo, move for move, counter for counter. It literally took dirty tactics just for the belt collector, so that's two belts, to literally hold on to this championship. And afterwards, you can tell Andrade respects Kenny Omega. They realize what they did here tonight in front of that lit audience. And definitely, this is a match that needs to happen again with these two. And apparently, this was also something to come to, according to reports I've read, as it seems AEW is preparing something bigger for both these men and the AAA Omega Championship. As, of course, they try to preserve this identity of Kenny Omega and the belt collector, where he doesn't lose to people outside his company, but can lose titles outside the company to people within AEW, as we saw this past Friday, King, with Christian, well-deserved. That being said, that was only one half of the week. And as of course, we had NJ Resurgence and GOD showing up, Yuji Nagata and John Moxley teaming up. The Haas fight of the year for me so far with Moose and Tomohiro Ishii. My God, give me that match again. Those two guys beat the holy hell out of each other as Ishii stood victorious with the vertical drop brainbuster. But Moose got over that night. He is a 5-star athlete, folks. Bottom line. And of course, we had the Commonwealth Kingpin, Will Ospreay, basically chastised everybody in the Forbidden Door, including AEW, and saying that he is now here and will make himself comfortable in NWW Strong in America too, as he's medically cleared and still holds the true IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in his own vision. And of course, Tyree of the LA Dojo, of course, that led up to Carl Fredericks, Clark Connors, and even TJP coming out. I think we're getting TJP versus Will Ospreay for that title sooner than later. We also, of course, have a new addition to the LA Dojo as now on excursion, Uyemura introduced himself, and Shibata said, "Come with me." A huge step forward in this young Lion's career as he begins his brand new journey here in America. Shibata, we want him to wrestle again, but he is leading the future of the professional wrestling business. God bless the wrestler. And of course, I cannot say enough about the main event as the Murder Hawk Lance Archer defended the IWGP United States Championship against the ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who now stands among the, I'm going to say it, absolute greats of all time as a Grand Slam NJPW champion, beating Lance Archer in an absolute classic. Both made mutual respect, and Lance personally invited Tanahashi into the Forbidden Door to AEW. Imagine, folks, Hiroshi Tanahashi in an AEW ring, the matches you could see. And of course, Jay White defeated David Finlay as well, who was very game for the Neverweight Championship, but it looks like a certain Stone Pit Bull might want his gold back and restore it to what the Neverweight Championship truly has represented, I would say, the past 6 or 7 years. And that's just a few highlights for you folks regarding what happened. So with that being said, King, it was a hell of a weekend. Your thoughts, your favorite match, your moments, and what you think's to come before we break into what happened tonight and what's ahead this week.
See, I'm glad you guys touched on God because, notice, when I was watching Saturday and during New Japan's resurgence, I noticed how their mics got cut off, and then Carl was checking to see if the mics were on, and then next thing you know, here comes God appearing out of the blue, and I'm like, we're really going to get this, ain't we? I was hoping we get this starting September 22nd. In Queens for the seeds to be planted. But instead, God wants to come in and say, you want to know what? Why wait till New York? We can come to LA, we can plant seeds for this to be happening. And it's exactly what they did. And we had a stare down and basically 4 of what represented Bullet Club. You looking at 4 Bullet Club royalties in that ring in LA at the Torch Coliseum. But the Good Brothers didn't want no part of God. They think they're too good for God, but Tama and Tonga ain't gonna stand for that. You know they ain't gonna stand for that. They will find God, whether that be an AEW with the Super Elite, shout out to my boys, or they'll be an Impact. Whether it will happen because I'm still sticking with this word, and I have said this on Twitter, and basically because I still think we are not going to get Christian and Omega at All Out for the rematch, but this time for the AEW title. I don't see AEW doing rematches like that because of the fact that AEW rarely give us rematches. I don't think they ever give us a rematch, I think ever. So I don't think we'll get a rematch between these two for the AEW title. What I think what's going to happen is because I think, and I think, I'm, using these puzzles here, Jay White is going to be at a house show the day after Rampage, which is going to be in Chicago. So what I think will most likely will happen is if they don't do Christian, which I like Christian, I'm glad he's Impact World Champ. And as much as I want to see the match again, I don't want to see it this quick. Mm-hmm. So what I see will happen is we hit the Bullet Club intro, you see Jay White coming out. You see him ringing God. And in the ring, you see Kenny. It could be with Kenny, the Bucks, and the Good Brothers. What we see is a stare-off. But you just see 3 versus however many with, with Don and Cutler and Nakazawa in the ring. Then you bring in Bad Luck Fale. Then you bring in Phantasmo. Then you have the whole group in a stare-off. And whether that be on Dynamite, not on Dynamite, whether that be on Rampage or the following weeks. But I do see this culminating with Omega and Jay White in a rematch from 2018's match for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. But this time, let's do it in AEW ground. Let's do it all out. Is what I see can go down because of the fact that I don't see Christian Omega doing this again when we just had the match last week and they do it 3 weeks later. I think that's a little bit of an overkill. Just a tiny bit. But because Jay White did say at Resurgence, said, I don't care if it's in a New Japan ring. I don't care if it's in an Impact ring. I don't even care if it's in an AEW ring. I am going for that company's prized possession because I am the real belt collector. Keep in mind that Kenny still got 2 belts. Yeah, he lost his Impact World titles. But also, Jay White's also going on a belt collection mission, just like Kenny. So what I'm predicting, what to follow up with that, Jay and Omega, is if you want to do title versus title, be my guest. If you want to do the never openweight title versus the AEW title on the line, go ahead and do it. And have, if that's the case. Or you can go with many routes if you want to with the Jay and Omega. I'm still sticking to it. Also, if you want to do the Good Brothers versus G.O.D. at All Out for the Impact World Title. If you want to do that at All Out, give the Impact some shine in Chicago. Do that too. And also, from what I've learned as these past few days, my friend Matthew on Twitter, shout out to you, Matthew, for giving me the source. Tanahashi's last day in the U.S. is today. After that, he's going back to Japan. Tomohiro Ishii, on the other hand, is still going to be here in the States throughout these past 2 months. And he pitched an idea to me saying, let's do Ishii versus Moxley. And I said, you know what? If Tanahashi's leaving the States this week to go back to Japan, knowing that he probably compete in the G1 Climax, but Ishii's staying, give that match to me. But if Tanahashi decides to stay in the States, give me Tanahashi and Moxley, because Moxley did say that he thinks Tanahashi's been dunking him in that Forbidden Door. But he wanted to come out and face Lance Archer. So give me Tanahashi. And plus, Moxley was at ringside Saturday night watching Tanahashi and Archer for that IWGP US Championship.
Clearly sitting next to the belts.
Yep. So if that's the case, give me Tanahashi and Moxley for that belt, so that Moxley can finally get his wish. And also, Ric Flair has a no-compete clause, even though he never was an active wrestler, but he has a no-compete clause in his contract. And with him coming out with Andrade, this begs the question, what do you do with Chavo if Flair shows up in AEW on Dynamite? What do you do with Chavo? Because if Ric Flair's planning to join Andrade and you got Chavo in the mix, do you make Chavo a mouthpiece and make Flair a manager and just alternate between the two? Or Ric Flair, I hate to say it, I keep seeing this theory getting brought up, you have him join the Pinnacle along with his other 4 horsemen and Tully Blanchard.
He is the dirtiest player in the game, but he also is basically the stepdad to, of course, someone that we all know, Andrade knows very well, in the Queen, Charlotte Flair, who I might add was also at Triple Mania, but apparently was not able to come to ringside. And ironically, she was booked to be at a WWE show in Charlotte where the fans were chanting Charlotte. It didn't happen. There's much more to this guy, as Andrade did say, he wants the entire family with him in AEW, La Familia. Though at one point I thought he was trying to build a Los Nobles faction, right, in AEW, similar to Tetsuya Naito. And figured about this whole Forbidden Door thing, it would not surprise me one day if we see Tetsuya Naito and La Sombra face to face. Considering what you talked about, though, with the G1, the United States Championship, that'd be a classic G1 rematch brought forward on American soil. I would love to see Tomohiro Ishii and Jon Moxley, even if making a number one contenders match to face Tanahashi for this title. You could probably build an IWGP United States Championship program with Tanahashi all the way up to Wrestle Kingdom at this point, with the ways you could probably take this belt, considering the G1 31's coming up. Where Will Ospreay already said he will not be participating. So the field's wide open as to who can win it. And we also know who's not going to be participating in it due to those American dates you discussed here in New Japan of USA's touring coming up. Is one Switchblade, Jay White. No J1 this year. So as far as actually could win this and face who Ospreay believes is the interim IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Shingo Takagi for his title. Kota Ibushi, please get well soon. I know he still has a match, but again, help has to come first, just like Ring of Honor delaying their shows. I honestly have no idea at this point who could really be that guy to challenge Shingo on the grandest stage this soon in New Japan Pro Wrestling, in all pro wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom. Tell you right now, it's not going to be Evil. No way Evil's being the guy. But
no way, Evil. No, we've already discussed this before.
I know. Also, that's a conversation in itself.
Yeah, and also Ospreay name dropped Bryan Danielson, so it kind of makes you wonder as well when Bryan comes on board with AEW and also works with New Japan as well, along with Archer and Moxley and all the AEW talent who wants to work in New Japan. Does this mean we're going to plant a little seed for Ospreay and Bryan Danielson here pretty soon? Because if I were myself, whenever he's available after September 22nd in Queens, I say book that match, whether you do it on NJPW Strong or on AEW ground. Either way, I just want to see this match happen.
Well, considering what Tony Connery said, that AEW Rampage, what we saw last week is maybe typical what you might see going forward, and I'm like, what? Anything's possible, because again, like you said, Christian made history 10 years since being the World Heavyweight Champion. He's now the Impact World Heavyweight Champion, the World Heavyweight Champion from the other company, folks. And will be, of course, coming to Impact Wrestling, where he will defend that, of course, against the most professional wrestler. Yeah, right. Brian Myers. And I'm sorry, I just can't get behind that. Of course, we're going to finally got the All Elite contract after falling to Miro for the TNT title, because no one can take Miro's divine gift as he is God's favorite champion. Although we know a couple of people that have already called him out, including one, Bronson Reed, who wants to be in this Forbidden Door on so many levels. And of course, the main event of this premiere Rampage was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, don't forget it, defending the AEW Women's World Championship against a very game, aggressive Red Velvet, who went into enemy territory in a crowd atmosphere similar to ECW One Night Stand. And I thought she carried herself very well, and Britt Baker, being resourceful and innovative, using the rock shot with the other hand, defended. I thought both looked fairly strong. Britt is over a period. I would say Britt is more over right now than Adam Cole, baby. And that's saying something. And of course, we now know that Britt is not rolling alone. And by that, I mean she got extra help besides Rebel, not Reba. Jamie Hayter, after nearly 2 years, is back and has been signed to be All Elite, a brand new look. I'm very curious what she brings to the ring and what this does going forward for the AEW Women's Division. But with that being said, we talk about AEW, we talk about Japan Pro Wrestling, you talk about Impact. There's so much going on in this Forbidden Door era of cohesion and inclusion, in professional wrestling.
You forgot one more.
All women
You forgot one more, because Ring of Honor was on their Twitter account saying that if we were to enter that Forbidden Door, who would you like to see ROH face, whether that be AEW and New Japan or Impact?
Well, the thing is, I was talking with the guys on Wrestle Revolver for X, and we were talking about this too. It's like, man, Jay Lethal and the Briscoes, they've been with that company forever, man. What else can you do with them? So right there is three extraordinary wrestlers I would love to see throughout the Forbidden Door. First match off the top of my head, I think I would like to see the Briscoes versus the Dark Order. I think Stu Grayson and Evil Uno and the Briscoes can have a very dynamic match. And I keep saying it, Stu Grayson to me is a future TNT Championship challenger. That's all I gotta say about that. But speaking of that, we talked a lot about the weekend of Forbidden Door. We got the NWA pay-per-view coming up. Casey, you are an old school pro wrestling fan. You have looked into the NWA. You know there's all women's pay-per-views come up, but also NWA 73. This is the oldest wrestling company in the history of the industry. And in my opinion, they are in a very bright, different light, but I feel like people still kind of don't really recognize or understand that, especially nowadays. I'm sure people are turned off with the whole strict business, like all this thing too. But I listened to that talk, and shout out to our queen of ATW, Megan Chiba, who is, of course, pursuing her journalistic and wrestling career, talking about the whole idea of perspective and identity and using this show as a platform to really raise the absolute identity, it seems, and respect of women's pro wrestling. But I want to pick your brain regarding the NWA. Give me your thoughts towards the upcoming NWA women's pay-per-view that's got Forbidden Door written all over it, with Impact and AEW involved as well in NWA 73. Give me your thoughts on the NWA right now.
All right. My thoughts on the NWA women's pay-per-view coming up, though.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great pay-per-view and a blast from the past that I know all too well. Melina Perez versus May Long she reigned Deonna Purrazzo.
Virtuosa.
And Deonna Purrazzo and Melina. It's going to be a very good match. And what I have to say on that title match right there is Deonna Purrazzo cannot underestimate Melina for a second, because Melina is an experienced veteran of this game, and she knows the game all quite too well. And Deonna Purrazzo or Melina is going to be a very good match, but I see Melina, with the professional that she is, will definitely put over Deonna Purrazzo in this match. And NWA pay-per-views going to be overwhelmingly a good one, especially with the women's tag match with the startup queen herself, Red
Maybe it's
Velvet,
safe to say that's Casey's
and Kylie King in the tag match together. But that's going to be a good tag match, in whole pay-per-views like going to be overwhelmingly a great show. And with the other show with Ring of Honor, I mean, no disrespect to them.
That got, of course, moved and delayed.
No disrespect to them, but I always seen a Ring of Honor show like 2017, I guess. I mean, I haven't watched Ring of Honor in a while. I don't really follow them and all that, but Ring of Honor, I could tell, produces a good show, and they do have a good show, and their talent are all great and everything. And the Ring of Honor, NWA, and I mean, the Forbidden Door, when you get to know it, is a very exciting time in professional wrestling, because when you get down to it, it's a lot of fun for fans to watch the Forbidden Door take place.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Anybody could walk through that Forbidden Door. I mean, that we heard of. I mean, you get down to it, I mean, it can happen on AEW ground, Impact ground, NWA ground, Ring of Honor ground. I mean, it could be anywhere, any place, like they say.
Well, it's like, they're bringing back, what was once called territory days. And you look at the smallest independent promotions as well, like FTW, Mission Pro. Right.
Like, when you get down to it, though, it reminds me of the 1970s and in the 80s, how they did it like back then. But this is like a new era, the Forbidden Door. And they used to do the Forbidden Door back then, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I feel like back then there was probably more politics involved. I think that's the comfort right now, it seems, in the wrestling industry. It's less politics. Tony Schiavone even said that. And it's more of a focus on the talent and giving professional wrestling fans what they want to come and see, react to, and enjoy. A real positive, organic type atmosphere and an unpredictable feeling towards what you might see. There's a reason why almost everything in the Forbidden Door, it seems, has been something different every week. But that being said, guys, we are ATW. We can talk nice, we can rant, we can say things we want, but let's be honest. In life, there's the good stuff, there's the okay stuff, and then there's the weirdly, why the hell is this happening?
There's good times and bad.
And it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the brightest of days, it was the darkest of days. It was the happiest of times. Sorry. Sorry, I went on a book thing there. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into. Before we talk about what's coming up this week, as we subtly alluded to with the All Elite Week, we of course have the first dance coming up, but we also of course have Emergence. So there's a lot of fun stuff coming up here as well. And folks, you can watch, of course, Emergence this Friday in Impact Plus, August 20th, before you check out what everybody's talking about, and everybody's buying the lips on. Everybody's just waiting in anticipation. Why one Darby Allin this past week on Rampage called out the best in the world. And in an arena packed with over 15,000 people, Rampage Week 2 presents the first dance at the United Center in Chicago. So guys, I'm just going to simply ask you one simple question. CM Punk to AEW confirmed?
Let me see.
It's clobbering time!
I think that answers that.
It is definitely clobbering time.
The teases on Instagram and him calling commentary for mixed martial arts. Everything's there. His latest tease, literally 3 sets of numbers. Each one of those sets of numbers represents what? An era of Punk. And 21, how ironic, is the year we're in now. Because last time we were in the summer of Punk. The fact of the matter that we could possibly see CM Punk in AEW potentially confronting, maybe not wrestling, but confronting Darby Allin in 2021. What in the hell type of era are we living in? I have no idea what to expect this Friday. We have no card. We have no matches. I still think they need to set up Diamante versus Big Swole at that show because that match feels that damn big to me. But I digress. But overall, this 1 hour of Friday Night Professional Wrestling that collides with NJPW Strong, that's now got Will Ospreay in it. So that might become a little Friday Night War in itself. I hope not. But bottom line, I cannot wait for this Friday. Now, let's go to a more sovereign tone as we turn our faces to something we once know and loved as our world changes forever as we know it. This weekend marks NXT TakeOver 36 and the last takeover as we know it, as Vince McMahon has decided to take the reins of NXT in a whole new direction, for he faults the failures, in his opinion, of NXT not beating AEW on Wednesday Night War, and basically hopes against the roster and independent wrestling, because again, you can't have wrestling in sports entertainment that's worthwhile that goes against Vince's vision. So let's see. We've had releases. We have the potential of a brand new set. We have the independents being beaten out of the independents out of them. Shout out to our inquirer and newsman, Eric. And we've already seen people from this Sunday, yes, folks, Sunday's takeover on the main roster in the worst spots possible. So in a much sovereign tone, we talk about SummerSlam, and I'm sure one match that will cause everybody to rant. I just want to get everybody's thoughts on NXT. What's to come of it? What's to become of it?
For what I've heard from, I think it was from Andrew Zarian. Take this with a pinch of salt, even though he's been really good on his sources. Shout out to Matt Man podcast. Shout out to them. I follow them.
Nice.
He did say that the rumor going around is that NXT is going to be taped shows again on Mondays and Tuesdays. They're going to have taped shows, and then they're going to air it on Tuesday. So Sunday and Mondays are going to have taped, like they're going to be taped, and then that's when they're going to air those taped episodes on Tuesdays on the USA Network. Also, yes, like the USA higher ups are not happy. They did say that this is not what we signed up for. So you can already tell that the network execs are not going to like where this direction is going, because once again, Vince has struck a chord in what made Triple H's vision of what we love about pro wrestling that will happen in WWE, that'll be that shining light that will hopefully see Vince to change his ways, has now become darkness. And that darkness is now about to take over the brand that we used to love. the brand that we used to think that, okay, if they could take this and implement that into the main roster, then it'll become a much more better product than both for Raw and for SmackDown. Nowadays, we look towards NXT UK, which I have some sad news. Usually we have our inquiries.
NXT UK is the one brand in WWE that respects the sport of pro wrestling. However, I'm afraid King's got some bad news. Go ahead.
Usually our inquirer, our newsman, Eric, shout out to you. We'll see you hopefully for Zoom. Usually will be the one to break this down, but I unfortunately haven't, and that unfortunately happened. Bad news is that in September, the government is now going to pay the rest of the NXT UK's COVID funds. So, which means Vince is going to look into that, and most likely NXT UK might get shut down in September.
Oh, God.
Well, RIP to an incredible brand of
Good
case,
Lord.
where you got the likes of Ayla Valkyrie, Michael Satomura, Stevie Turner, Lillian General, Walter, Ila Dragunov, Joe Coffey, Flashburger Wester, and so much more. I really hope that's not the case because, again, when I think about, what NXT UK did to the industry, it did kind of sabotage it a bit, putting it under that umbrella. But also, everybody seems to really love what they are doing there. And I feel that brand needs more recognition and respect to support the overall pro wrestlers that are out there doing what they love. As, of course, our friend Megan Chiba is literally being trained by Sid Scala and has been literally speculated by Eddie Dennis. Kudos to her. With that being said, the future is very unsure when it comes to the black and gold as we know it on both the US and the UK front. And all I can say is I wish it the best, but ever since these constant releases that are coming out where they're just draining the NXT and the 205 Live brands to the point 205 Live shouldn't exist anymore, it's almost come to the point that why even should you watch the WWE if you don't find anything really, engaging in sports entertainment besides Roman Reigns and Sasha Banks, but two people do not make an entire production, nor a roster, nor a show. I mean, SmackDown is still somewhat tolerable because, in my opinion, they got the better roster and the better wrestlers. And again, Roman, Sasha Banks, there you go. But that's still not enough. And you don't have a tag team division. And really, am I to believe you're going to do some of their Canal Championship? I don't know at this point. Casey, now, I know this could be a potential moment where you might rant, but I want to really see you try to test yourself and control yourself here with your thoughts about the future of NXT and your favorites.
All right.
Boy.
All right. After hearing the news of NXT and NXT UK, why in the world would you mess with those two shows when they're literally the best thing in the WWE when you get down to it? NXT in the US should have never been taken off the WWE network to go on to the USA network. Because when you do that, I mean, that kills NXT US all in one, because why would you want to go to war with AEW over ratings? Just why? I mean, mind your own business and produce your own damn show when you get down to it. Don't worry about what AEW does. I mean, they don't give a shit about you. So why should you give a shit what they do? Because when you get down to it, Triple H made the best characters and the best gimmicks of these wrestlers in NXT. I mean, we've seen the likes of Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and many of others all
Big E,
came
Seth
before
Rollins, list goes on and on.
Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, list goes on and on right there. And when you get down to it, though, why the hell? And what gets me? Here's what gets me. Why are they? I mean, I get it that they're big stars, but why would you ruin the NXT of now wrestlers that get called down on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown? Because what the hell did they do to you? Because I don't get it. If they were successful in NXT, why can't they be successful on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown?
They don't
Oh,
fit my
I
vision,
got it. Oh, I got it. It's because they're not Vince, Bruce, Kevin, or Johnny's creation. Because when you get down to it, though, I mean, God help one of my favorites, Dakota Kai. Shout out to her, because ever since I first seen her in the Mae Young Classic, that is when I instantly became a fan, and I was very impressed by her work to that very day.
Like
And
assuming you're a fan of mixed martial arts, that says a lot.
and I said, to myself right there, as soon as I first seen Dakota Kai, I said, this young lady right here is going to be a future star within NXT US. And turns out I was right this whole very time, because I instantly smelled a great wrestler that could go in the ring on her. And I mean, do I have what it thinks that she could be NXT Women's Champ? Of course I do. I want her to win the NXT Women's Championship, because Dakota flat out deserves it. She's been there a long time, and she busted her ass day in and day out, and it's time to reward her hard work with an NXT Women's title win. And I mean, when you get down to it, she deserves to be at the top in NXT Women's division. And when she wins that NXT Women's title on August 22nd, NXT Women's division will truly be Dakota territory. That's not a prediction. That is a spoiler. So Dakota Kai, go get that NXT Women's title, sis. I'm rooting for it along with the rest of Coda Nation. Let's go, Dakota, and let's go, Cap. You got this. And when you get down to it, yeah, NXT UK. I mean, I heard the news on that. I mean, it's absolutely pathetic. I mean, if they better not ever think about shutting that place down, because that is the biggest mistake that they will ever do. Because I mean, Walter, Dragunov, Eva Valkyrie, and all those great talent, Kaylee Ray, Miko Satomura. I mean, keep NXT UK and Isla Dawn as well.
We can keep going about our favorite wrestlers, but continue.
NXT UK open. That'd be a big mistake to shut that down, because when you get down to it, though, I mean, that's where they made their name from, and I want it to be open. And NXT, God. After TakeOver 36, man, oh man, it pains me to say this. I loved NXT from back in the day on the WWE Network with Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Ricochet, and all those fantastic guys and girls coming out of NXT US. Because when you get down to it, though, after TakeOver 36, NXT US is going to be unrecognizable. And it's going to be reduced just like to Raw and SmackDown, where it's going to be flat out. It pains me to say this. It's going to be flat out, completely buried and dead, like ECW back in the day.
Ouch.
And that pisses me off more than anything, because you had Triple H, who is called a cerebral assassin for a reason, because he brought you gold out of NXT with these wrestlers, and you want to change their character and gimmick around to fit your mold? Who the hell do you think you are? I mean, what egomaniac sons of bitches they got on Raw and SmackDown, because every one of these talent, I mean, God help them, because Raw and SmackDown, don't get me wrong, I mean, they booked, Bianca Belair was booked correctly, and Rhea Ripley was booked all right, but let these people be themselves on Raw or SmackDown. I mean, when you get down to it, I mean, let them stay within the lines of wrestling. Don't talk to them like they're friggin' idiots. I mean, don't overscript the product, because what's killing WWE from the inside is overly scripting shit.
By writers that are not wrestlers.
Because they got writers that are not wrestlers that don't know what the fuck they are talking about. Because all they know how to do is produce shitty Hollywood movies that they have no idea.
That's gonna hurt some people.
They have no idea what they're. I mean, movie industry. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've seen a lot of great movies and all this, but but the writers and all this. I mean, let the wrestlers write their own fucking promos. I'm sure that you have a lot of. I mean, you have a lot of wrestlers that are smart as shit. I mean, some of them. I mean, we don't know, may have been to college and all this, but let me tell you something.
How much that plays into your WWE career, but anyway.
let me tell you something.
Go for it,
man. The WWE, I'm gonna do a CM Punk right here. The WWE is no longer a place where dreams can become true. The WWE is a place of living nightmares where you will not survive under Vince McMahon unless you do stuff his way, because it's Vince's way or the highway. And that's all. And that's all I got to say about that shit.
And let the
Good God Almighty. All right. Well, anyway.
And to anybody with the Hollywood film industry, I mean, I'm sorry I had to say that, but it's the damn truth. It's the truth. I mean, I literally speak my mind and all this. I mean, I don't say shit just to be an asshole. I call it how I see it.
You are a fan.
That's how I look at it.
You are a fan of your opinion, and I get that. Again, the WWE that we know is not the WWE. The WWE used to know is not the WWE you see today in 2021. And to the point now, you even got network execs that are like, "Yeah, Vince, you're being way out of line here." I mean, people are already chastising the product. Hey, they're still going to the product for the kids and the family members, and to support their favorite superstars that still to this day, they're just trying to make a living for their family, whether they have, the happiness to do so or not. It's like Nakamura called out fan, like, you don't know if I'm happy. We don't know who's happy. Bottom line, they provide for their families, just sit and get full on whatever in catering, if catering's still the best thing there. I guess that's just, their own choice and judgment. Bottom line is this. pick and choose which way you go in this industry. If you want to go to WWE, then I clearly see you're going there just for the money. If you're going anywhere else, you're going for your passion of professional wrestling. That's all I got to say about that. All right. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and, prime examples. Poor Selena Vega got the shaft, but then again, karma could be a bitch too. Trapped in WWE while her
Exactly
husband
right.
AEW, and they made her husband into a top draw in 5 minutes. And I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that promo meant when he said you're boxing, or not boxing, you're basically challenging God. And I'm very curious which direction this goes now with Cody off for the time being, as they got a reality show coming up and stuff. There's just so much crazy stuff going on in this wrestling industry that I'm trying to figure out and can't. I think about Mercedes Martinez. Could she show up in the Casino Battle Royale again like she did last time and bring her veteranism to AEW? Bronson Reed wants everybody in the Forbidden Door. I think he can work in any company. And as far as those other prospects that were just signed and literally released, some the same day, some on the wrestling anniversary, and some literally on their first match on 205 Live and their last, all I can say is I wish them all the best. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and briefly talk about one person or two. Buddy Murphy brought out a very interesting promo similar to one John Moxley when he was free, and shades of the same doctor as one former Aleister Black, Tommy Yen. The date says 8/31. Now we know that All Out is, of course, literally that weekend coming up, September 5th. We all cannot freaking wait for that shit. But I've got to wonder.
Damn right.
It feels like that literally Tommy Yen and Buddy Murphy are bound to fight forever. So is Buddy Murphy bound to AEW at this point? What the hell's going on there? And in addition to that, $50 follow-up, we've got to talk about the man that says you can't die and you can't kill it. What future awaits Bray Wyatt? King, both of those questions I toss to you.
Buddy will be bound. He will be AEW bound, and I really do see either him and Malachi go at it. Because remember, when Buddy retweeted after Malachi's debut on Dynamite, he's retweeted and it said an I. And then Malachi said, "Buddy, what did he say? Buddy." So, and then with that Moxley first promo, and then the part 2 with the same doctor that Malachi used, I can really see these two square it off one more time on AEW. Which, if y'all haven't, go check out their previous matches in WWE. They were top notch.
They were friggin' pay-per-views.
Oh, fantastic. They're fantastic.
Buddy Murphy was probably my favorite cruiserweight champion in the original 205 Live when they're at their highest. The matches he had with Buddy Murphy what Buddy Murphy had with Tony Nese and freaking Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander, legendary.
Also, Bray, what do you do with Bray? There are a lot of ways you can do with Mr. Wyatt because he is so creative in the head. He is so creative that I feel like if he was to star in a horror movie in Hollywood, he'll nail the part just like that because he is so freaking creative.
He could write a horror movie. And by the way, small tangent. Stop blaming Alexa Bliss for Bray Wyatt's release because she was actually very affected by it too. It is not her fault that she is stuck with a dull gimmick. She is making what's given to her work. And that's all I got to say about that. Amen to that. Pro wrestler because trying to make the best out of the worst situation.
Because when you get down to it, though, this is not Alexa Bliss's fault. She had nothing to do with this. She had nothing to do with this. It was out of her hands and out of her control. She has no control over it. So folks, quit blaming Alexa Bliss for it. She's doing her job and doing what the bosses tell her to do.
And it gets her TV time. It works for her.
And she felt bad for Bray Wyatt's release. Of course she did, because when you get down to it, Alexa Bliss learned a lot from the master himself in Bray Wyatt, because Mr. William Rotunda is a very smart guy with how creative he is. I mean, this guy, he can literally write and direct a horror film if he wanted to. I mean, he is very smart when you get down to it. But if Bray Wyatt, if whatever promotion lands Bray Wyatt, whether it's AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, because let me tell you something, you're going to have a creative genius on your hands, on your roster. And Bray Wyatt is a big pickup for anybody's roster when you get down to it. And Bray Wyatt can kill a dark character to perfection. The guy knows how to make anything scary look great, because William Rotunda is that damn intelligent, and his creativity absolutely amazes me, because Rotunda, he made the Bray Wyatt gimmick work before he was the Thing when you get down to it. Because the Thing in Bray Wyatt, with two alter egos, because when you get down to it, you had a guy who had Firefly Funhouse segment where we're very glad that you're our friend, because this is a friendship that will never end. And Bray Wyatt, William Rotunda, shout out to you. That segment where you had Paul Heyman as Paulus.
All right, hold on, calm down, Chase, before you break down. But I get what you're saying.
Like Walrus. Thank you for absolutely making me laugh that hard for 15 minutes. Sir, keep up the great work. You will thrive anywhere that you're signed to.
Which I think will be AEW, because of the fact that you can create the House of Black, but you can also go multiple ways if you want to have Bray and you can have Malachi, Buddy, Butcher, Blade, and then Bray. You can do Bray joint, basically, I wouldn't say take the leadership of the Dark Order, but take control of the Dark Order and get them to what Brody got them to be in the first place. And that was the most dominant heel stable that AEW had to offer before they went babyface. Because whenever they were heels, they were the most dominant force under Brody Lee's leadership. So I wouldn't make Bray the leader. I would make him take control of the Dark Order, of what Brody used to be when he was the leader of that group, and make him the most, like I said, the most dominant faction in AEW, what they used to be. But also, if you want to have him as debut a new Fiend character, because he did share on his Instagram with a new Fiend character that was most likely going to debut last week if he wouldn't have got released. Also, by the way, WWE, why would you want to release him after he had new merch? But that's beside the point. Like, you released this man because he was creatively frustrated with Vince. You know what creativity from most wrestlers would love to have? Most of that you see in AEW, that love their creativity, their freedom in AEW. Because in AEW, Impact, New Japan, MOW, ROH, NWA, it don't matter where you go to. You're free of that prison. That prison is going to hold you down as long as you know you're not a Roman Reigns, you're not a Seth Rollins, you're not an AJ Styles, and as far as the women, you're not a Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky, or Charlotte. Because there's like, let's see, Ruby. I can see Ruby.
And no offense to those names, by the way. It's just WWE politicking, but continue.
Exactly. Thank you for touching on that, my brother.
Anytime, man.
I see Ruby going to AEW. Well, she is rumored. I could see her being the Joker at All Out. I could see that, or you can play the Mercedes card. But that's
bringing back the women's casino battle royales. We gotta figure out who's gonna take on the Doctor. Though the Alien seems to be very close and wants to be our new leader. I'm not against that.
Right.
But back to the Bray thing, you can have Bray debut this new Fiend character that we would have got on his return, and it will probably make it the most scariest character in AEW, right up there with Malachi's, because when Malachi came in, it was basically he perfected his entrance pretty much of what he had at NXT before Vince screwed it all up when he got called into adding the creaking noises as soon as he came
right.
And make him look like Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell with the eye patch, with the little suit on SmackDown, the rivalry with Kevin Owens. I'm like, is this Aleister Black or is it Tom Clancy? What is this with Aleister? What are you doing? This man's a striker. This man's a brawler. And one of the best strikers and brawlers to ever do it in this wrestling business. And you have him turn into a suit with a pirate eye patch looking like Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. Like, that's not how
exactly right.
Book. That's not how you should book Black. What Black should be booked is what he's been booked now in AEW. That's becoming a top star of what he was in NXT, which I feel like he shouldn't even need the NXT title to begin with whenever he was in NXT. But they gave it to him, which I was not complaining about it because
it was a good match. I recently watched that. It was a good match.
Good match. And I feel like, but in his character, I feel like he shouldn't even need the NXT title because he didn't even need it because he was more over without the title. But with the title, it showed that he was a dominant champion, no doubt about it. But what he's doing,
he beat Lars Sullivan, and then we had the Black Heart come to life as Goldie was claimed by Tommaso Ciampa. But we could reminisce about NXT probably another day. But as far as the Bray, Rotunda, Bray, whatever you want to call it, thing goes, he's going to be good wherever he goes. And I'm glad to know that what was happening and the release was not regarding mental health, because that is a whole nother topic in itself. As an advocate for that myself, who was born developmentally delayed. That being said, I wish everybody who was released from what everyone calls the prison the best now that they're free. Because sometimes when you're free, you don't know what it's like on the outside, how to handle it. And I'm not method acting, I'm just saying, though I have seen that from movies too. That being said, going on that tangent, yeah, but bottom line is this: professional wrestling has definitely been a unique peak time in 2021, everywhere outside the WWE. And again, we have the first dance, we have All Elite Wrestling's Dynamite and Dark tomorrow night, as of course we'll see more talent try to flourish and showcase their skills, including one Kiera Hogan. And of course, we have Impact Wrestling, where we know Christian will be confronted and making his Impact Wrestling return by his proponent, as well as so much more with the X Division. And Josh Alexander, to me, is a future Impact World Heavyweight Champion. No doubt about that. He's up there with his skills when it comes to in the ring with Kenny Omega. I need to see that one-on-one. And I'm looking forward to Emergence. And as far as this weekend goes, TakeOver or SummerSlam, which one am I looking forward to more? Subtly, you got to look at it from two perspectives. One, we are fans somewhere deep inside us of both NXT and aspects and certain wrestlers in the WWE. Can't deny that, okay? But the thing is, when you look at these cards and you look at the presentation and the build and the preservation, especially the champions, and how important each match seems, when I look at SummerSlam, truly only two matches feel important to me. And that's Seth Rollins and Edge and Roman Reigns and John Cena. And I look at TakeOver and only one match truly feels important to me. And that's Walter and Ilya Dragunov. So with that being said, gentlemen, before we close this impromptu, that's what I'm going to call it, impromptu ATW View, what are you looking forward to most this weekend after AEW Rampage the First Dance among SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver?
I'm gonna have to go with Volta and Ilya Dragunov too. As much as I'm looking forward to Cena and Reigns too, but I feel like that build has been somewhat lackluster until this past Friday, where they kicked it up a notch and went back to their 2017 promo, but upped it a little bit with their little shoot work promos. Because Cena is probably the only person that could get away with his little CM Punk impression and a Dean Ambrose name drop on SmackDown.
Big pop during that.
He's probably the only person that can get away with that. But I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, now y'all want to kick it up with almost less than a week away. Like, why are y'all waiting to do this now? But I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, of course, this is WWE. They wait to the last minute to kick it up a notch to get us ready for some, like, that match build, get us ready for that match itself. But with Walter and Ilya Dragunov, the history is already there. I'm just, like, ready to see it on American soil to the ones that haven't seen them. You know, when they fought in NXT UK for that United Kingdom Championship. So basically, that has more history and more build going into TakeOver for that on Sunday. And also, we used to look forward to Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe, but we all know what happened with that. I mean, Karrion Kross gets called up while NXT champion, and then Jeff Hardy pins him while using the ropes as a babyface on Monday Night Raw.
And that's when people start saying Jeff Hardy, new NXT champion. Oh, wait, he's not?
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Great job of inferior brand, the less brand. You did it. You finally did it. You finally happy that you finally killed NXT. Basically right off the bat by killing his champion. So that means you give disrespect to what Finn Balor has done to work with Karrion Kross. You gave disrespect to what Oney Lorcan did.
Oh, dear.
You gave disrespect to what Adam Cole did to work with Karrion Kross to make him a legit champion. And I feel like that Adam Cole promo is coming to life as we speak. You're only like smoke and mirrors. But when it comes to ringing the bell, that care about me. I'm all about in this ring.
That's true, but also Adam Cole, he was there for one thing only, but I say he has more to do in NXT, and that's put over Kyle O'Reilly, who felt like there was the only babyface they were building up to this point. And now I wonder in this let's be honest, it's a 3 stages of hell match, folks. In this 3 stages of hell match coming up at TakeOver, you gotta wonder, is this the last match in NXT for both these men, or particularly Adam Cole, whose contract's been up in the air? But I absolutely agree when I say that the number one match I'm looking forward to most this weekend, it is Walter, Darlene General versus Ilya Dragunov. Will he be Gefallen, as the NXT UK champion has only changed hands on American soil? Or will he prevail once again to preserve the sport? For the mat is sacred. We're going to have to wait and see. But I am definitely looking forward to that match the most. Casey, what match are you looking forward to the most at all this weekend? The same thing as us, or do you have a different pick? Now, I know you talked about Kai earlier, and you picked her as your winner. Spoiler alert, in Casey's words. But I'm just saying, besides that moment, what other match are you looking forward to the most this weekend among the 2 pay-per-views?
All right. I'm looking forward NXT TakeOver 36. Looking forward to the ring general Walter versus Ela Dragunov. Sorry, Ela. I botched on that.
There's the botch of the night.
Dragunov. And
torpedo at you.
Torpedo Moscow. But anyway, continue, Casey.
All right. With Walter versus Ilya Dragunov, that match for the NXT UK title is going to be a very hard-hitting match when you get down to it, and that match is going to be an absolute instant classic. In Ilya Dragunov, God help that chest of yours after that night, because it's gonna be turned into hamburger meat made by Chef Walter.
Gonna be better than
And-
last time, that's for sure.
And Walter and Ilya Dragunov. I mean, this match will, and the real question is, will Ilya Dragunov finally become the first man that defrauds Walter, or will Walter retain the NXT UK title, where the Mott will be secret? And I mean, the two matches I'm looking for is Walter versus Ilya Dragunov, and my pick for the Walter and Ilya Dragunov match is it could go either way.
Damn right.
But I say we're gonna make a bold prediction here, and I say I'm going with Walter here because Walter is the current favorite when you look at betting odds, and Ilya Dragunov is
That's
the
what, hey, that's
underdog.
what one briefcase predictions holder.
Underdog for betting odds. And the second match I'm looking forward to is, yes, you already know, Dakota Kai versus Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah, I knew it.
And
There it was.
and my two predictions for the match is Walter will retain the NXT UK title, where the Bot will forever be secret.
I keep saying that there's one
And-
person
And
that I think could take it off him, but you finish your thought, then I'll talk
and
about
my favorite female wrestler in Dakota Kai is going to win the NXT Women's title versus
third time.
Raquel Gonzalez.
Spoiler.
it.
And
First time in
that's
her career.
all I got to say. And Dakota Kai, when she wins that NXT Women's title, the NXT Women's division will become Dakota territory, and they will all bow down to the king, known as King Coda. And that, and Dakota Kai will make the ring very royal, because she will be known as King Coda, the NXT Women's Champ. And walking Dakota, good luck to you, sis. Good luck to you. Bring home that NXT Women's title, because you absolutely deserve it. You're a hard worker, and hard workers deserve a special reward handed to them. So Dakota, go out there and kick Raquel Gonzalez's head off. And when you get down to it, Dakota and Dakota Nation will celebrate her NXT Women's title win, and Walter will forever keep the Bot secret. Those are my picks,
Well,
ladies and gentlemen.
Chocolate is the key thing here. And I do
Yeah.
love the fact that we talk about the sport of pro wrestling, not the art of sports entertainment. With that being said, I do like your picks. I love how confident you are in Kai. I think it's going to take more than one kick to drop Raquel to what she did last time, though. And if there's one person, I've been saying it, if there's one person I think that could take the title off the Ligne Generale, I still am waiting for the one-on-one match for the title. They suddenly had a one-on-one match during a literal, I think, Worlds Collide event. I think the next NXT UK champion should be Jordan Devlin. I think the Irish Ace should be the one to dethrone the Ligne Generale. You should have history all the way back to OTT, Over the Top Wrestling, at Scrappermania in freaking Devlin's home country. And if by some miracle we do get our next takeover in Dublin, Ireland, or something of the sort, I think that's the perfect time for the Irish Ace to truly be the king of this brand. He might not be the Iron Man, but he damn sure is the Ace. Damn, what a match for Bay Kid, by the way. And that's personally my opinion. So, in short,
That's right.
my match, of course, again, it's Walter versus Dragunov, but I believe that Ligne Generale will retain. No disrespect to Ilya Dragunov, But honestly, right now, there's nothing else Walter needs to do nor should be doing besides holding down NXT UK as their champion and preserving the art and the integrity and the heritage of this sport. Though I don't ever see him going to the Heritage Cup because if he ever won that, I don't think nobody can ever take that off him either. But again, that's my sole pick as far as that goes. But good stuff, gentlemen. Good stuff. Bottom line is this. We are, impartial. We might be a little biased. We might rant a little bit. Also, fuck Goldberg. With that being said, all right, you know what? No. I gotta get this off my fucking chest. How the hell?
Here we go.
How the fuck do we have Goldberg challenging for the WWE Championship in 2021? I'd rather walk 500 miles to the Proclaimers on repeat than believe Goldberg has a chance to be the WWE Championship in 2021. I'd rather play Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy on stream during the entire span of SummerSlam than believe Goldberg has a chance to be WWE Champion in 2021. I would rather join TikTok and recreate Rick Roll's Never Gonna Give You Up music video than believe Goldberg has a chance to be the WWE Champion in 2021. I'd rather see Shane McMahon strut and sweat and work a 20-minute squash match with Bobby Lashley. I believe Goldberg has a chance to be the WWE Champion in 2021. The bottom line, you don't need Goldberg in 2021. Taking the moment once again from Keith Lee. Absolute bullshit and a nonsensical, nostalgia-relying booking that drives me crazy and further tells me you don't give a shit about the WWE Championship nor your company to create fresh stars because no one wants to see Goldberg's old ass literally hit his head on the locker, forget his damn words, misinterpret a spear, well maybe someone else can see that, and literally get squashed hopefully at the hands of the Almighty in less than 2 minutes, send him back to the retirement home, and give me something worthwhile.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna add on to that little rant because I got a rant of my own of what Fightful wants to come out earlier today. And what Fightful said that Goldberg said that he's helped to elevate younger talent. Bobby Lashley is not younger talent. He's in his 40s and he's WWE champion that he's never had because he's been Impact World Champion during his time.
You need to remind you that this old gray biscuit, no good son of a bitch, buried the identity of the Fiend in Country Redacted and literally ripped my mouth apart ahead of surgery. I'm here to elevate younger talent. My ass, you're here to deepen your fat wallets.
So that way he can add another Mustang to it.
Oh, man.
Another Dodge Charger, maybe a Dodge Challenger. Who knows? But yeah, younger talent. You ain't here to elevate young talent. You're just here to get your 2 matches a contract, every 2 matches per year on your contract, probably worth $2 million, and you'll probably go to Saudi Arabia for a bonus and probably get you $4 million because I forgot to mention this earlier. Yes, WWE has confirmed their Saudi Arabia date, October 21st, and that's on a Friday, which I would not be watching. And I would be starting that streak of not watching Saudi Arabia shows through my first 2 mistakes because of the fact
exactly right.
Saudi Arabia, we're gonna go to Saudi Arabia and make money.
Let me just say one thing here real quick. I do not hold anything against the people of Country Redacted, nor its young fans that are aspiring to maybe be part of this company. God help you and your vision. But the politics behind this whole deal and the way that you have treated the talent at these shows and Country Redacted is an absolute crime against human morality and a risk of safety. And that's all I got to say about that. God bless you all.
All right. Since I just heard that about that Goldberg wanting to help elevate younger talent,
yep, that's what he said on Fight.
I'm gonna have to call a Hay on to do my freaking predictions for freaking country. Oh, for freaking.
That is it. Time for another fact statement by me. Goldberg. One thing I gotta say to you, you dumb, bald, old son of a bitch.
Oh,
You have never fucking elevated younger talent in your entire fucking life.
Well, maybe
What
his
young
son, but that's
talent?
a different thing.
What young talent did you elevate besides Drew McIntyre
Who's
at
not
the
young?
Royal Rumble?
McIntyre's
Drew
young, though.
McIntyre is not young at all, because when you get down to it, you helped buried Kevin Owens, the likes of Kevin Owens,
Oh man,
to Fiend,
All right. Fastlane
And-
2007. Why bring that up?
the Fiend,
Bad year.
and many others, because
Oh,
Goldberg,
No count.
you are the most selfish son of a bitch I have ever laid eyes on. Because first off, you don't give a damn about the future. You only give a damn about helping yourself. I mean, you only give a damn about coming in, collecting a paycheck, and then walking out, and that's it. And speaking of this, about the Fiend and Goldberg,
Aeon will return.
Oh,
Stay tuned.
I gotta help. I gotta do something for the kids. I gotta see the kids as a superhero. It's
Nikki Ash, almost
Bill,
superheroes, more
fuck,
believable than
nobody-
Goldberg as a superhero.
No, no.
Nobody,
Both of them do not equal.
nobody, no,
Both of them can just get the heck
Nobody-
away.
and nobody, Bill. Nobody likes your ass, Bill. I mean, the kids don't even want you as a damn superhero, because you damn near killed the Fiend's momentum. And don't even get me started on this. You and the Undertaker at Saudi Arabia.
Oh
Oh,
my
Good Lord have mercy. No disrespect to the Undertaker, but that was like two 90-year-old men going right at it. A damn nursing home. I mean, the Undertaker, you almost killed the Undertaker on a botch jackhammer, which that's a match that should have never taken place to begin with, because Undertaker even wasted his time accepting that match, Bill. Because Bobby Lashley is not a young talent at all. He's in his 40s. He's a middle-aged man. And
Kudos
you
Bobby
lost
Lashley in his
sight.
shape, though. He still can go,
And
but he
you-
is not a young
And
person.
you lost a sight, Bill, of how this business was, or was, Bill. Because Bill, you only give a damn about yourself. You don't care about anybody else but yourself in today's wrestling world. And why the fuck are you challenging for the WWE Championship when that could be for a younger uprising star that could beat Bobby Lashley, and that is more believable in beating Bobby Lashley? Because nobody wants to see a has-been, a 50-something-year-old has-been, become WWE champion. No, thank you. Because if you want to see the ratings die, put the title around Goldberg, because Goldberg will barely be there because the ratings are bad enough. You want to see him go, you go right on fucking ahead. And that's all. And that concludes that rant. And one more thing. In the words of JD from NY, fuck Bill Goldberg.
Yes, what did it
That's
go
all I
to?
got to say.
Shout out to JDM live from New York. And the king has left the building.
I'm here.
Y'all good. Y'all good. He's good. We're good. I mean, JD, people can say what they want about JD, but the man does speak facts a lot of times. And a lot of times I actually do agree with what he says, especially about the WWE. But again, it's one of those things where you just, you hear somebody, you go off your own thought, and you see if your thought supports that. No one's truly right, but it doesn't take a blind monkey to see something necessarily wrong all the time and interpret it such as that. And something that's certainly wrong is having Goldberg potentially as a WWE champion.
Goldberg.
Nobody needs that. And shout out to Jeff Meacham Network, who also hates the man too. Go follow Jeff Meacham Network, folks. Yeah. So yeah, with that being said, that's my biggest blemish when it comes to professional wrestling going on right now. And as far as everything else, AEW, NJPW, Impact, the NWA, Ring of Honor, GCW, PWG, the independent wrestling scene, and everybody involved, period. I wish nothing but the best. God, I love pro wrestling. There's never been a greater time to be a fan in 2021 because life exists beyond the E. It's not just about the money or the ratings. If you truly live to talk and watch through that, you're living a shallow existence, in my opinion. Again, my opinion, don't have to agree with it. I'm just stating what I believe because I simply just enjoy life and enjoy not sports entertainment, especially in country, but I enjoy professional wrestling. And it's as simple as that.
Amen.
Apologies to headphone users.
Amen, brother.
Well, with that being said, I think that was a pretty wild, fun, open, simple, unscripted, unfiltered discussion, impromptu on this ATW View. And whether or not people believe us, follow us, or even acknowledge us, that's their opinion. I don't really care. I'm happy with my ATW crew. Thanks for tuning in, folks. And for, of course, the king, the elite king, Anthony, and I say the preacher man, Casey Flynn, and the rest of the ATW family, included but not limited to Nick Setters, the Enforcer Lex, who right now is literally going to be seeing all elite wrestling live the entire Chicago week, including All Out. You son of a bitch.
Man, you're a marked man.
Yeah, especially when he confronts Kenny Omega. If you try to confront Kenny Omega in a Street Fighter video game, boy, you crazy. Of course, our young wrestler and journalistic mind in training, the great Megan Chiba, nothing but the best. And of course, the other lady of ATW, my lovely friend Cindy G in California. God bless her. Go follow her podcast, Adventures in Wrestling. Our inquirer, our bearer of news, both good and bad, Eric Brown, with a huge insight into the multiverse that is professional wrestling and the comic world and bringing the two together. Brilliant. Nick Setters, our Kid Bandit, who was part of course, the Nightmare Family showcase, and of course, our latest member to the family in Randy, and also JD Ultra. I think I covered everybody. If I did, and chastise me in the chat. I can't think of everybody off the top of my mind, and I gave myself a headache with that rant, and I'm pretty sure I got more stuff longer than the list of Jericho in I'd rather blankety blank than believe Goldberg has a chance to be WWE champion in 2021, let alone once this match, but I digress because I got work tomorrow. So on behalf of the ATW family, ATW crew, wrestling community, wrestling fans, random viewers too, I bid you all a fine adieu. Until the next time you hear from me or anybody in this crew, enjoy life, enjoy wrestling, and goodbye, in the words of Kenny Omega, and good night, and fuck Goldberg. Bang.